Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie. Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi. Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie. Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington. Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson. Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson. Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington.
For Allison Mackenzie, each day is a day of hope for the future. A day when she will fit together the pieces of truth from her past.
Hello, Miss Janet. Hello, Allison. Oh, you really have learned how to use that chair.
Yes, sir. My left hand is beginning to do what I tell it to.
Oh, you should be proud of yourself.
Well, it's not me, really. It's Mr. Gehring. He makes me hate him so much I get better just to spite him. Sometimes I think Dr. Rossi's using that same technique in these so-called interviews.
Oh? Was he being rough on you?
Yesterday got me so upset I couldn't move my arm again.
It's all better today.
If only you wouldn't keep needling me.
Why are you telling me this? Do you want me to put in a plea of mercy for you?
No, I just felt you were one of the few people around here who aren't hovering over me all the time.
Well, that's the real basis for friendship.
What were you listening to when I came in?
Oh. The news.
So long since I've listened to a radio or read a paper.
It was understood that the legislature will reconvene to decide this most urgent matter in the next few days. When a decision is
You
reached...
see, this isn't mine. I don't want it to get broken. I'm sorry.
What's been happening
Where?
on the news?
Nothing, really. Allison, I have to go now. Dr. Rossi will be back in a couple of minutes, all right?
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This caused a sensation and has rocked the city. Young Rodney Harrington is accused of having murdered Joe Chernak on the night of July 16th. The motive, revenge for abuses to his brother, Norman Harrington. Harrington is the grandson of Martin Peyton and the son of Leslie Harrington, former manager of the Peyton Mill. Peyton Place has been shocked by the testimony of witnesses brought forth by the prosecuting attorney, John Fowler. And all eyes are on this town, where a descendant of the founding plot is now... And that is the up-to-the-minute news of the Rodney Harrington trial. Be sure to tune in every hour on the hour, 7 days a week, for the latest...
Allison. Allison.
Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me about Rodney?
Why did you forget? Allison, I wanted you to remember for yourself. In your own time.
Do you mind if I skip today's session? I'm tired.
I think we'd better face this issue. What did you hear?
Whole jumble of Rodney on trial for murder. Couldn't be. Why didn't he tell me when he came here to see me?
Because you didn't remember and he didn't want to upset you. You remember anything else now?
No, nothing.
You remember the last time you saw Rodney?
No.
Allison, the last time you saw him, you went to visit him in his jail cell. When you came out, you were in a very distraught state. It was soon after that you were hit by a car.
No!
In each room.
No, it's not true. I'm going back to my room now.
Not yet. Allison, you can't run and hide in your room every time something upsets you. Why do you think you're upset?
I think that's a pretty silly question, don't you? When I've just heard on the radio somebody I know is on trial for murder.
Allison, it's more than that. What does Rodney really mean to you? What does this whole trial mean to you?
What are you trying to say?
You think about it.
It has nothing to do with me. If I went to see Rodney in jail, it was because probably I felt sorry for him. It's nothing to do with me.
I suppose Rodney means nothing to you now other than a casual friend.
That's right. Nobody means anything to me except my mother.
Allison, you're a warm, a very beautiful young lady who's lived in the same town all her life. Doesn't it seem strange to you that after almost 19 years in this town, no one means anything to you except your mother?
Dr. Rossi, if you have something to say, I wish you'd just say it and then let me leave.
All right, can you see Rodney Harrington? Can you see him without getting upset now?
Yes, of course I can. In fact, I'd very much like to see him. Can you get in touch with him for me?
I remembered the radio after I left.
Really?
What happened?
She heard the news.
And then?
She tried to believe it wasn't true, and then she finally convinced herself that Rodney was only a friend.
Then it didn't hurt anything.
I don't know. You knew the danger of a sudden shock in her state. It could have set us back for weeks, made her more detached. It could have possibly put her in a depression.
I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're sorry, just like that. You allow something like this to happen without thinking of the ramifications involved, and where are you going?
Out.
That's an interesting trait you have, Miss Janek. Whenever something comes along that's unpleasant to you, you just take to your heels and go.
Yes, well, it's better than standing still and getting hit.
Let me ask you a question, just out of curiosity. Did you leave this in the room on purpose?
On purpose?
Yes.
What for?
Well, then you were just careless.
Yes, it was careless. No, you're right. I left it there on purpose.
You had no right to do that.
I'm not a doctor. I'm just a human being with emotions. Why shouldn't she know that my brother is dead? Why shouldn't she know that Rodney is responsible?
Maybe you're right. Maybe you ought to leave here before I say something I'll be sorry for later.
Well, how about some announcement cards? Mrs. Ada Jacks announces the marriage of her daughter Rita.
Charmaine. Rita Charmaine.
Rita Charmaine to Mr. Norman Harrington. How does that sound?
Now,
Very, very elegant. Congratulations.
Well, how did you find out so fast?
From the town crier, Norman. He gave me the item for the society column.
Oh.
Don't let me interrupt you now.
How about that one? Looks like real 14-karat gold.
Well, this one seems even more simple and uncluttered. I think Rita would like that.
Whatever you say, Mrs. Carson.
And once you made up your minds, may I suggest that the Clarion print them up as a gift to the bride's mother?
Thanks, Elliot. I have to pay the freight this time. But I will let you announce it in the society column.
That's a deal.
Thanks for everything, Mrs.
All right.
Carson.
We'll call you when they come in and give the couple our congratulations.
I will. Bye.
She's about 4 feet off the ground.
She has good reason to be.
You're thinking about Allison. Well, you just be happy for Norman and Rita.
She is about Rita's age. And she and Rod.
Allison will be all right.
Hello, Rod. Welcome to the Early Bird Club.
I have an early morning news bulletin for you. Norman Harrington and Rita Jacks got married last night.
What? You're kidding.
I never lie. My lawyer told me it was wrong.
That wacky kid. That changes everything. It puts a whole new light on Rita's testimony. That sends us right back to go.
How does their getting married affect Rita's testimony?
Well, it may look like he paid her off for donating her hide for your cause.
Oh, you're marvelous. Stephen, you are really marvelous.
I said that's the way it will look.
That isn't why he married her.
Are you sure? Your very volatile younger brother has a track record for instant acting out. Not only does he move fast, but he has the typical teenager's need to be loyal.
I don't follow you.
Well, when one kid feels another has been put upon by the cruel adult world, and he could certainly have felt that after Rita testified, they stick to one another like glue. Great. Don Quixote in a broken-down automobile rescued a damsel in distress.
Tell me something. Isn't it possible that people can do something without a motive? Like maybe out of love?
Well, that well may be, but he might have controlled all that love. Why didn't he wait a week or a month? Or better yet, until the trial was over? You know, marrying Rita the day she testified in your favor puts this in another class entirely.
What about his taking the witness stand the next day? What does that do? Fowler subpoenaed him this morning.
Anything else? You know, if the earth opens up and swallows the statue of Samuel Peyton, I'd appreciate it if you'd tell me.
Fowler subpoenaed him this morning.
Well, I'm not too surprised.
Well, I am, and I'm worried.
How's that look? Neat, huh? Nah. Better? Gives the place a little feeling of, class.
Your attitude leaves much to be desired.
Why? It's the first present anybody's given me since I became a married man.
A subpoena is not a joking matter.
I know. I'm sorry. Norm, you stoop. Shut up. But I'm not gonna let it get me down.
I still wish you'd take what I asked into consideration, Norman.
You know, I'm not gonna pretend Rita and I aren't married when we are.
Can't you wait a while until what happened to Rita on the stand is forgotten?
I'm gonna tell the truth. Our good and noble lawyer says telling the truth will always work for us. And marrying Rita is a fact. We might as well face it.
Phyllis, you didn't have to come all the way up from Boston.
I didn't hear from you.
Well, unfortunately, you've picked a bad time.
I don't care about time. Where's my sister? Where's Marian? John, answer me. She's your wife.
I'm doing everything I can, Phyllis.
What do you expect me to do? Just forget that I have a sister? Just forget that she's disappeared?
Look, Phyllis, I can't stay out here, and I know you have to get back to Boston.
I want to know now where Marian is.
I don't know. Now, I know you're worried, and I'm sorry, but you've got to let me take care of this my own way. This is a matter between a husband and a wife. Now, can you understand that? Go back to Boston, and I'll let you know as soon as I've heard anything from Marian or about Marian.
About Marian? What do you mean by that?
You have a close and friendly relationship with your brother?
Yes.
And you were present here in the courtroom yesterday when Rita Jacks testified?
Yes.
Good, then you won't mind if I review some of her statement. You became angry when you learned that Joe Chernak was attempting to renew his old relationship with Rita Jacks, and on the day before Joe Chernak was found dead, you and he had a fight. Is all that substantially correct, Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Why did you start a fight with a boy several years older and presumably stronger than yourself?
He made some unpleasant remarks about Rita.
And did his unpleasant remarks imply that he could control Rita Jacks and you couldn't?
Something like that.
Something like that? Yes or no, Mr. Harrington? Did his remarks challenge your manliness?
The witness will answer the question.
Was what he said a challenge to your manhood?
Yes.
And did you think that what he said was true or false, Mr. Harrington?
Objection, Your Honor.
I withdraw the question. So what he said was humiliating to you. Is Rita Jacks the first girl you've ever been serious about? Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
And how old did you say you were, Mr. Harrington?
18. 18.
So he made his remarks about your manhood, and you fought with him. You fought over Rita Jacks. Who won the fight?
You know who won.
Who won? Who won the fight?
He won the fight.
He won the fight. He won Rita Jacks. He humiliated you. He beat you up. He made you doubt your manhood. Very disturbing thought for any man, especially for a young man like you. But you couldn't keep him from insulting Rita Jacks and yourself. You couldn't prevent him from tormenting you, so you asked your older brother to silence Joe Chernak.
No, that's not true.
For the sake of the reputation of a wretched girl like Rita Jacks, you pleaded with your older brother.
Don't you say another word about her. You hear me? What you're saying isn't true. It isn't. She's my wife now. Understand?
When did you marry Rita Jacks?
Last night.
Last night? Just a few hours after her testimony in which she attempted to blacken the character of the deceased. Mr. Harrington is to be congratulated. Tell me, do you think you could have married Rita Jacks if Joe Chernak were still alive?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
I don't think I need to ask any more questions, Your Honor. Your witness?
Since you've known Rita Jacks, how many times have you and she been together?
I don't know. 30 or 40.
And where have you spent those times together? At dances? Blanket parties?
No. Mostly in the library. We're in the kitchen of Rita's house.
The kitchen? The library?
That's right.
Doing what?
Studying.
Studying. Why?
So I could graduate from high school, which I did thanks to Rita. And so she can make up for all that she missed when she dropped out of school.
You say that Rita Jacks helped you with your studies so you could graduate.
That's right.
Why Rita? You've got a big brother, haven't you?
Yes.
And he's in college, isn't he?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you ask him for help?
I don't like asking him.
Why not?
I just don't like to. I mean, it's bad enough having him wipe my nose when I was his little brother. It makes me feel like a little kid whenever I ask him for help. So that's why I don't like to ask him.
You mean you've got too much pride to ask your big brother for help, is that it?
Yes, I guess I got too much pride then.
You testified you were present in this courtroom when Rita Jacks testified.
Yes.
Weren't you embarrassed to hear what she had to say about her relationship with Joe Chernak?
Yes.
Before she was called as a witness, did she tell you she wanted to leave town, run away, so that she would not have to testify?
Yes.
And what did you advise her to do?
I told her to stay and testify.
Even though you knew or suspected what she'd have to admit in this courtroom?
Yes.
You've had an unusual relationship with Rita Jacks. Your dates have consisted of studying, for the most part, helping each other. Not very romantic. You hear unpleasant things about her from her ex-boyfriend. Not very encouraging. And just a few moments ago, you testified that you and Rita Jacks have just gotten married. Now, what possible reason could you have for marrying a girl like Rita Jacks?
Because I love her.
Because I love her. No further questions.
You're excused, Mr. Harrington.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
I don't have time, Doctor. I may have about 3 more weeks of freedom left. I'm on trial for murder right now.
You don't trust anybody or anything, do you, Mr. Fowler?
I intend to win, Miss Chernak.
I don't think I can come back here anymore. No treatment in the world is going to make you love me again.